How true is Netflix's Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer Story? Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer Story, directed by Ryan Murphy, had a record-breaking premiere on Netflix with 196 million hours watched. The renowned serial killer who murdered 17 adolescents and men between 1978 and 1991 is dramatized and portrayed by Evan Peters in this film. Many viewers were left wondering if the 10-part series accurately depicted the events leading up to Dahmer's arrest, and whether or not any of the fake elements were included for dramatic effect. New information has come to light regarding Dahmer's father, Lionel, who now resides in Ohio, his biological mother, Joyce, who died of breast cancer in 2000, and the fate of the apartment complex where several of the crimes took place. Dahmer's brother David and a timeline of his crimes, all of which were inspired by true crime, were also confirmed. After seeing the series, viewers were left with more questions than answers, especially those concerning Dahmer's interactions with his next-door neighbor Glenda Cleveland. Let's find out what's true and what's not in Netflix Dahmer the Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer Story in today's video. Glenda Cleveland never met Dahmer or lived in Oxford Apartments. The capture of Dahmer is largely due to the efforts of Niecy Nash's character, Glenda Cleveland. Dahmer's next-door neighbor in the show is Cleveland, and their confrontations with one another frequently result in calls to the police. In reality, Cleveland never resided in Dahmer's building, and the two never crossed paths. She actually resided in the structure next door. Nevertheless, she repeatedly tried to notify the authorities and the FBI about Dahmer's activities. Cleveland's daughter, Sandra Smith, and niece, Nicole Childress, witnessed a disoriented Conorak synthesophone, then 14 years old, running from an alley near Dahmer's apartment on May 27, 1991, according to the series. Cleveland called the police, who showed up and gave the teen back to Dahmer, who later killed him. Dahmer claimed to the police that synthesophone, who appeared to be intoxicated, was his 19-year-old boyfriend. Dahmer gave his next-door neighbor, Pamela Bass, sandwiches. Pamela Bass was Dahmer's next-door neighbor. They had a good relationship, and she didn't have many suspicions about his actions. Netflix's original series did not feature her. Bass said on the record, following Dahmer's arrest, that she had found Dahmer to be kind and sharing. She even admitted that the sandwiches were provided by him. In light of the verified brutality of Dahmer's acts, Bass voiced her concern that the packages may have contained human flesh. In the film adaptation of the Jeffrey Dahmer files, she said, "I have probably eaten someone's body parts." Dahmer never drank blood at the Milwaukee Blood Plasma Center. After getting a job as a phlebotomist at the Milwaukee Blood Plasma Center, Dahmer was followed by the 4th episode of the series. A frightening turn of events occurred when he brought home a bag of blood for consumption. On the roof of the facility, Dahmer reportedly tried to consume a vial of blood, but he ended up spitting it out instead. This information comes from the reports that Dahmer gave to the law enforcement personnel in real life. John Belcerzak and Joseph Gabrish were not Officers of the Year. In the 9th episode of the limited series, officers John Belcerzak and Joseph Gabrish was presented with a commendation for becoming Officers of the Year. In actual history, nothing like that has ever taken place. Both policemen who have been placed on administrative leave following the arrest of Dahmer were reinstated in 1994. However, they were never honored with the title of Officer of the Year. Belcerzak was finally elected to the position of President of the Police Officers Union in Milwaukee. If you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet to show your support. Now let's continue. Dahmer's trial lacked glasses. During the course of his trial, the alleged murderer did not use the distinctive aviator glasses that had become his hallmark in the past. During an interview with Inside Edition, Jeffrey Dahmer stated that he felt uncomfortable looking anyone in the face, and he didn't want to see anyone's face clearly. It let him separate himself from what was happening. Police stopped Jeffrey Dahmer with human remains in his car. According to Dahmer's testimony, which was acquired by the New York Times, he was stopped by law enforcement officers in 1978 after he murdered his first victim, Stephen Hicks, who was 18 years old. Hicks was Dahmer's first victim. Even though he was swerving while driving at 3 in the morning with garbage bags full of Hicks' remains in his backseat, he was still able to persuade the authorities to let him go free. The police had previously detained Dahmer. At the Wisconsin State Fair, he was found guilty of indecent exposure and given a punishment of $50. After being suspected of drugging 2 customers at the bathhouse, he was expelled from the establishment. At the time of his trial, the manager of the bathhouse provided testimony. In September of 1998, Dahmer was arrested and accused of sexual assault as well as tempting Somsac synthesophone, as stated by Showbiz Cheat Sheet. He was given a sentence of 5 years probation after serving 1 year in prison with work release. Conorak, one of Dahmer's victims, had an elder brother named Somsac. Well, that's all for today's video. Tell us in the comment section how this one was. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing for more. And don't forget to give comments and provide us with your valuable feedback. We'll see you in the next video with some more interesting, luxurious facts and stories. And until then, stay tuned.